Hello again. I'm here with a book haul. These are horror books that I've picked up. Most of these books are just books to complete my collection for a couple of authors that I've read, and I wanted to just pick up the rest of the books from this author. So the first thing I actually read, or also I want to talk about, is Christopher Buehlman. I have three of his books: Lesser Dead, Suicide Motor Club, and I forget one's called Necromancer. I don't remember the exact title, but I really liked his books. The two vampire books were really good, and the Necromancer book was actually interesting. So we had two other books. One is Those Across the River, which is a book that's about this family that moves to the South during the Depression, and one of the characters is a World War One vet. And of course, the house, there's a little weirdness because his relative who owned the house, he inherited the house, was a slave owner, and some weirdness ensues. And I like this book. I will give a review when you see my wrap up for December, because I actually already read this already. But Those Across the River is my first book that I picked up. The second Christopher Buehlman book was Between Two Fires. Um, this is another history type book from Christopher Buehlman in the year 1348. I guess a disgraced knight has found an orphan of the Black Death in a Norman village. An almost unnerving picture of innocence, she tells Thomas that the plague is only part of a larger cataclysm, that the fallen angel under Lucifer are rising in a second war on heaven. But is it delirium or is it faith? She believes she has seen the angels of God. She believes the dead speak to her in dreams. And now she has convinced the faithless Thomas to shepherd her across apocalyptic landscape. There she tells Thomas she will fulfill her mission. There her true nature will be revealed. And there Thomas will confront an evil wrestling for the throne of heaven, a darkness that has poisoned his own soul. So I'm definitely interested in reading this one. So those are the two Christopher Buehlman books that I haven't read. The two Nick Cutter books that I haven't read. One is The Deep, which is about this plague that's a global plague, and there is this cure in the Mariana Trench. An unknown substance called ambrosia discovered, and there was a group sent down there to study it, 8 miles under the sea surface, but now the station is incommunicado, and it's up to a brave few to descend through the lightless fathoms of hope. I can't read. The lightless fathoms in hope of unraveling the mystery lurking at those crushing depths, and perhaps to encounter an even blacker than anything one could possibly imagine. An evil blacker than anything. Part horror, part psychological nightmare. The Deep is a novel that fans of Stephen King and Clive Barker won't want to miss. So definitely looking forward to this. It's called The Deep. I've read The Troop, and I've read Little Heaven by Nick Cutter. So this is one of the books I haven't read. Deep. The other Nick Cutter book, and Nick Cutter is a pseudonym, so this author wrote other things, but I'm just focusing on Nick Cutter. The Acolyte is the other Nick Cutter book that I haven't read. Jonah Murtaugh is an acolyte on the New Bethlehem police force. His job: eradicate all heretical religious faiths that practices in artifacts. Murtaugh's got problems. One of his partners is a zealot, and he's in love with the other one. So two religious kind of horror books in there. One from Nick Cutter and one from Buehlman. So that's going to be kind of interesting. And those are my Nick Cutter books. The other author that I decided to complete my collection with, I just did a review on, which is Joe Hill. I've read 3 Joe Hill books. I've read Fireman, I've read Nosferatu, and I've read Horns. So far, Horns is my favorite. But the 3 books that I haven't read is the newest one, which is Strange Weather, 4 short novels. I looked at the synopsis of these novels, and they look actually really interesting. but I'm not going to go into each novel. But it's basically a short story collection of short novels that both look pretty interesting. Okay, the next one is another short story collection called 20th Century Ghost. I believe these are actually, shorter stories. There's probably a bunch more than just four. Yeah, there's a bunch. There's a bunch of stories in this one, and it's not that big of a novel. So these are going to be real quick little stories. But again, I never read it, and I'm looking forward to completing the collection. So there's 20th Century Ghost. The last one is Heart Shaped Box. That one, let's see, the best debut horror novel since Clive Barker's Damnation Game 20 years ago. It's the kind of book that the overworked actors people use on book jackets. Relentless, gripping, powerful, genuine page turn. Oh, so this is his first book. That's interesting. That I did not know. This is a debut novel. Judas Kanye is the collector of the macabre, a cookbook for cannibals, a used hangman's noose, a snuff film, an aging death metal rock god. His taste for the unnatural is as widely known to his legions of fans as the notorious excesses of his youth, but nothing he possesses is as unlikely or as dreadful as his latest discovery. An item for sale over the internet, a thing so terribly strange, Jude can't help but reach for his wallet. For $1,000 will become the proud owner of a dead man's suit said to be haunted by a restless spirit. He isn't afraid. He spends his lifetime coping with ghosts of an abusive father, of the lovers he callously abandoned, of the bandmates he betrayed. What's one more? Interesting. I'm definitely interested in this book. So this is Joe Hill's debut novel, Heart Shaped Box. Okay. The other author that I read, or that I want to catch up on, I didn't buy all of her books, but I bought a couple of them, is Anya Alborn. I have read Devil Crept In by Anya. That was in my Nocturnal Book Box, one of my months. I decided to pick up a couple of her books. So here's the biggest one, Within These Walls. Let's see. In all her supernatural thriller, best-selling indie horror author Anya Alborn asks, how far would you go for your success? What would you be capable of if the promise of forever was real? With his marriage on the rocks and his life in shambles, washed-up true crime writer Lucas Graham is desperate for a comeback. One more shot at the best-selling success he once enjoyed. His chance comes when he's promised exclusive access to death row inmate Jeffrey. I got a sticker on here. Notorious cult leader. Okay, a mass murderer who's ready to break his silence. Okay, let's see. Lewis leaves New York to live in and work from the scene of the courthouse. No, I can't read it here. Lucas sets out to capture the real story of the departed faithful, except that he's not alone, for Jeffrey Halcombe promises devout eternal life, and within these walls, they're far from dead. I like that cover. It's really kind of creepy. So that's my first Anya Alborn book that I picked up. Next one is Neighbors. This one, Welcome to Magnolia Lane. Not exactly a little slice of heaven, but in the backwater town of Creekside, Kansas, it's the best a jobless supermarket clerk like Andrew Morrison can do. After sacrificing a normal childhood, a deeper education, and true love to look after his alcoholic mother, he's finally breaking free and living his own life. But in the squalid house he's sharing with a former childhood friend, the living isn't exactly easy. Plus, there's something about the chipper, all-American couple next door that's just downright creepy. However, this doesn't keep Drew from accepting a job as a handyman or surrendering to the wiles of the perfect housewife, Harlow Ward, a woman who always gets what she wants. Okay. Sounds interesting. And the third book, a YouTuber, Adam, I think it's Adam Caesar. I've read a couple of his actual books. He's an author as well. A really good YouTuber if you want to check him out. He recommended this book, Brother. I actually picked this up before he recommended it. I'm just waiting for it on Thrift Book. So this one, he said it's kind of like a he mentioned like a long-term type of book. kind of hillbilly type of book. So I'm interested in that one. And that's what this one is. This is Brother, and that's the last Anya Almorn book I picked up. If I like these, I'll just complete her. I think she's only got maybe 3 more books after that. And those are all the books I picked up physical. I did pick up one other book in December, and that was the Bentley Little book, because I talked about it on Nocturnal Book Club, the last book club I got. I said I have to pick up a Bentley Little book, so I picked up The Store. I'm actually currently reading it right now. I picked it up on ebook, and it's good. I am really enjoying it. I can't wait to give you guys a review on it once my wrap up comes. And I probably will be picking up more Bentley Little books in the future, because I did really enjoy this book so far. And that's about it for my December wrap up. So, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the Bentley Little book. That would be 11. So I got 11 books, and I am pretty much set probably for the next couple of months as far as author spotlights. So once I finish one of these books, once I finish the Chris Muhlman Between Two Fires book, I will probably do an author spotlight on all of his books, and the same thing with some of these other authors. So you can look forward to that. And thanks again for watching. I know this was probably a long video, but I just wanted to get them out there, let you guys know what's coming in the future. And thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you soon.